So, good morning all. Welcome to session 4 of this FDP. So, today we have one speaker, Dr. Manjuwala BC, and Madam is Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science, NIT Warangal. So, Madam has received PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, MTech from NITTR West Bengal, and B from North Odisha University, Odisha. Madam received gold medal in BTech CSE as a best graduate, and University silver medal as the best MTech postgraduate. Madam received so many fellowship during MTech and PhD program. And Madam's specialization area is software engineering and software reliability, modeling and prediction, machine learning, and soft computing. And Madam serves so many positions of our department as well as our institute. So with this brief introduction, I request Dr. Manjuwala VC Madam to start the session 4.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay, for your nice introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning, good morning.
So this is the second day of this online FDP, and yesterday you have given some brief introduction about the AI, and followed by some. What were the sessions yesterday, Sanjay?
Dr. Our HOD Professor Dr. Radhakrishnan sir has taken the brief introduction about
First
artificial
session.
intelligence.
Okay. Next session.
Then next session I covered the agent and environment and problem formation, followed by a prolog session.
Okay.
Yes,
So today we are going to discuss some sort strategy in the AI. So what is the use of this AI? We are going to design some systems where we are providing artificial intelligence to the system to solve a given problem. So the sorts algorithms are used to solve the problems specific to a particular system. So artificial intelligence uses the search strategies to solve a specific problem and try to provide the best result. That is the optimal result. And some of the search algorithm terminologies I am going to discuss. Then we will discuss some of the specific algorithms related to this AI. So the terminology related to the search algorithm, first one is the search. So all of you know search. So this is the step-by-step procedure to solve a search problem in a given search space. So search space is the constraint here. So whatever possible solutions are there, the system is going to source the solution from that search space. And the search space, it has three main factors. Search space, that is of all the possible solutions. Start state.
Madam, please share your screen. In the right corner, you have a present now button. If you click, then your screen can be seen by the participant.
Oh, screen is not shared. Okay.
You can switch off your video because video will consume the bandwidth.
Okay.
So you can you click the present now button. That is present in the right side corner.
Okay.
Then your screen will be shared.
Okay. Thank you. Now is it coming?
Yes, madam. It will come within 30 seconds. It will come.
Okay. Now coming?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now you can minimize this and yes, now slide is also coming.
Okay, na?
Please go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So sort space, this is the set of all the possible solutions. Start set from where we are going to start the search. Goal
madam, make
test.
it full screen, madam. Make it full screen, madam. Go to view and.
Okay. Okay. And goal test, this is a function which takes two parameters as the current state as well as the goal state. And it will decide whether the current state is the desired goal state or not. Next is a search tree. Whatever specific problem the system is going to solve, the problem can be represented as a tree. So the root of the tree, it represents the initial state of the given problem. Actions, this terminology used to represent the set of possible actions used to solve the problem. Transition model, this specifies about each action, what each action should do to solve the problem. Next terminology is the path cost. Path cost, it assigns some numeric value or numeric cost to each path based upon which we can obtain an optimal solution for a given problem. Next is the solution. Solution, this is the sequence of actions that leads from the initial state to the goal state of the given problem. And the optimal solution, this is the best solution among the set of solutions for the given problem. Next, the properties of search algorithms. So there are 4 properties in any search algorithms: completeness, optimality, time complexity, space complexity. So all of you already this time complexity, space complexity, all of you are doing in the data structure algorithm analysis. Everywhere, whenever you are writing algorithms, you are analyzing 2 things. So what is the time required and what is the space required for an algorithm. Then completeness means if the problem has a solution, then algorithm should provide that solution. That means the completeness property. And optimality means if number of solutions exist for a given problem, the algorithm should return the optimal solution for that problem. Next, we'll see the different types of search algorithms. So basically the search algorithms in AI, these are divided into 2 parts: uninformed search and informed search. So uninformed search, only the problem definition is given, no additional information is given about the problem. So we have to do blind search. We don't know from which direction we are going to solve the problem. Only we have given the start state or the initial state, we have given the goal state. So in which direction we have to move, there is no information. And the informed search, some heuristic values are given depending upon which the direction of the search can be fixed. So today in this session, I am going to discuss only about some uninformed search techniques, and maybe in the next session, Dr. Sanjay is going to discuss about some informed search techniques. So under this uninformed search techniques, we'll discuss the breadth first search, depth first search, depth limited search, iterative depending depth first search, and the bidirectional search. So this uniform cause search I am not discussing, that it depends upon a weighted graph. So during the informed search techniques, you can, Dr. Sanjay, he can discuss this uniform search techniques, how that cost factor is important for searching the solution of a given problem. And under the uninformed search techniques, I told you this is a complete blind search techniques. We don't know from which direction we have to search. Only we know in which order we have to traverse the tree, depending upon our depth first search or the breadth first search, like in our graph traversal techniques. Coming to the breadth first search technique, breadth first search, this is most common search strategy for traversing a tree or graph. So breadth wise, it will search the solution in a tree or graph. So it starts searching from the root node of the tree and expands all the successor node at the current level before moving to the nodes of the next level. And this this FIFO, fast in fast out, queue data structure can be used to implement this BFS search techniques in AI. So let us take an example. This is the one of the tree we have given here, or the graph you can consider. So suppose we want to search the node K from the tree or the graph. So how will it start? So the root node represents the initial state of the search. So S represents the initial state of the search and K is the goal state. So how it will start? It starts from the root node S, then it will discover the next level nodes. So next it will come to A. So A, there is a goal test I told you. It takes 2 parameters, that is the initial state and the goal state, and it will decide whether the current expanded node is the goal state or not. So here A is not the goal state. Then it will go to the next node in that level, that is the B node. In this way, the goal test and depending upon the breadth-wise traversal of the nodes, the algorithm will search the goal state at the level 4. So breadth-wise, it will discover, it will expand one by one node, and the goal test function, it takes the start node and the goal node to determine whether we have reached the goal state or not. Once we reach the goal state, whatever the sequence of actions, here actions means this is the set of nodes, in which order we are traversing the nodes. So those set of nodes can be represented, or the sequence of nodes can be represented as the solution of the given problem. So what are the advantages of this breadth first search and what are the disadvantages of this breadth first search? We'll see. Suppose there are this K node is present in the level 4 as well as K node is present at the level 2 instead of your G node. Okay, so G node I am replacing with K node now. So if you consider, think about the completeness properties, so their solution exists for the given problem, and the BFS, it will also provide the result. So it will provide the goal node K at the level 2. So completeness property is satisfied here. And what about the optimality here? Here we can get the goal node at the level 2 as well as the level 4. So the level 2 result, this is the optimal result for this given search. So our BFS breadth first search in the AI, it is complete as well as it is optimal. Always it will, completeness property will be satisfied and always it will provide the optimal result. So optimum we are defining in terms of maybe minimum number of nodes or the path length should be less. And what about the time complexity? Sorry, before going to the time complexity and the space complexity, we will see this advantage. Already I told you this satisfy the completeness property. So BFS will provide a solution if any solution exists for the given problem. And if there are more than one solution for a given problem, then BFS will provide the minimal solution. That means with respect to least number of steps. And what is the disadvantage here? It requires lots of memory since each level of the tree must be saved into the memory in order to expand the next level of the nodes. And it takes lots of time if the solution is far away from the root node, because that deepest level also we have to expand or you have to explore. And we discussed this completeness property and the optimality. Now the time complexity, it will be, this is the worst case time complexity order of b to the power d, where b is the branching factor of the given tree or graph, and d is the maximum or the highest depth of the given tree. And you can analyze that one. You can take one example. You can analyze the worst case time complexity. Always it will be big O of b to the power d. The space complexity also, it is the order of b to the power d. Next, we'll discuss the next technique, that is the depth first search technique. So depth first search already also we have done in the data structure. Depth wise it will traverse the tree. So this is a recursive algorithm for traversing a tree or graph data structure. It is called the depth first search because it starts from the root node and follows each path to its greatest depth node before moving to the next path. So the stack data structure can be used for its implementation. Let us take another example for doing this BFS. Suppose this is the S is the start node, root node, initial node, and we are going to source the G node. So how it will expand? Suppose we are traversing in the left side. So we don't know in the left side whether we have to move in the right side. So that is the blind search. So we are moving in the left direction. So S to A, next the deepest is B, next D. So S, A, B, D. Again it will return back to B and it will explore the E node. From E to B, again B to A, then it is explore the that is the C node. Then after C node, it will explore the G node. So the sequence of paths are your S, A, B, D, E, C and G. So in this way, we'll get the goal node for the depth first search. So whether it will satisfy the completeness property now, we'll see. Suppose sometimes the graph is infinite. So what will happen in the depth first search? It will stuck at the infinite loop. In that case, we cannot get the solution. Always it will go in the deeper direction because we know the depth is infinite, so we will not get the desired solution. So if the infinite loop is present, we cannot get the desired solution if the solution is present in that directions. Otherwise, we will get the completeness property. So whether you can get the optimal solution in the depth first search, suppose I will replace the H node by G node now. So level 1 H node is replaced by the G node. And we are starting from the left side, S, A, B, D, E, C, G. So if you are starting in this direction, we are getting the G node, and this is from the figure, it is showing that this is not the optimal solution because directly from S to G node we can expand, and that will be the optimum solution for the given problem. So it may satisfy the optimum property or it may not satisfy the optimum property depending upon a given problem or depending upon the search tree of the given problem. So as compared to the DFS requires less memory because it needs to store a stack of the nodes on the path from the root node to the current node. And it takes less time to reach the goal node than the BFS if it travels in the right path. Otherwise, it may take more time to reach the goal node. And disadvantage is that there is the possibility that many steps keep reoccurring and there is no guarantee of finding the solution. Infinite loop is there. So DFS algorithm goes for deep down searching and sometimes it may go to the infinite loop. And this is the DFS search algorithm coming to the completeness property. It will be complete. If solution exists, it will provide the solution. That means there is no infinite loop. Okay. And optimum, this is non-optimal. It may be optimal, it may not be optimal depending upon the given problem. And the time complexity, again, this is the worst case time complexity. Order of b to the power d, where b is the branching factor and d is your maximum depth. And your space complexity will be less because that is a b into d, because it is used to store only the single path from the root node. It is not storing all the nodes in its depth. Next, in this depth first search, what we are doing, we are searching up to the deepest node. If the goal node doesn't exist in that direction, we are searching up to the deepest node. So in order to avoid this problem, we'll go to the next algorithm, that is a depth limited search algorithm, where there is a limit on the depth. So during search, we are putting some restriction on limit of the depth. So this depth limited search algorithm is similar to the DFS, but with a predetermined limit value. So it can solve the drawback of the infinite path in the depth first search. And in this algorithm, what will happen, the node at the depth limit will treat as it has no successor nodes further, because we are restricting the limits at that point. So during the BFS and the DFS, when there will be a failure, if the problem doesn't have any solution, then there will be failure in the DFS or the BFS. But in the depth limited search algorithm, there are two conditions in which the search algorithm may fail. So one is the standard failure value, like your BFS and the DFS. It indicates that the problem doesn't have any solution. So this is the standard failure value. There will be no solution for the given problem. So here another type of failure is there, that is the cutoff failure value. So cutoff failure value means what? We are limiting the depth. So beyond that limit, we are not searching the tree. Okay. So it defines no solution for the given problem within a given depth limit. So beyond that, we are not searching. So the algorithm will return a cutoff failure value for the depth limited search algorithm. Now, if you consider one example here. Similarly, our S is the root node and the initial node, and J is the now search node, right? If J is the search node, what will happen if you limit the level or the depth equals to 1? So what will happen? It will assume that after B node and after A and the B node, there is no successor nodes. So it will not search the level 2. So it will stop at the node B. And here we will get a cutoff failure value, because whatever limit we have considered, the depth of the limit, the solution is not present in that limit. But suppose I want to search the whatever. Suppose okay, let us say T. I want to search one node T from the given graph or the tree. So what will happen? This will be standard failure value because T node is not present in the search tree of the problem. Like this advantage of the depth limited search, that is memory efficient because we are not searching all the depths here. Disadvantage is it has also a disadvantage of incompleteness because we are searching up to a particular limit. If the solution is present beyond that limit or below that limit, it cannot able to find the solution. So it may not be optimal, its solution may not be optimal if the problem has more than one solution also. Similarly, we can determine the time complexity and the space complexity of this algorithm. Time complexity is similar to the DFS, that is the order of, there we have b to the power d, we have considered here b to the power l, that is the limit of the depth we are restricting. Space complexity also order of b, l. And completeness, if it is the solution will be complete if the solution is above the depth limit, otherwise again it will lead to incompleteness. Optimal also, it is a special case of DFS. It may or may not be optimal depending upon the given problem search tree. Next, in order to avoid the depth limited search algorithm, next algorithm is the iterative deepening depth first search algorithm. So this search algorithm finds out the best depth limit and does it by gradually increasing the limit until a goal is found. In the DLS, we have fixed the limit, so we are not able to go beyond that limit. But here in the iterative deepening depth first search, if in the level 0 or the depth 0, the solution is not there, we have to increase the depth by 1. Then we will search the next level. So it performs the depth first search up to a certain depth limit, and it keeps increasing the depth limit after each iteration until the goal node is found. Let us take this example here. Suppose I want to search the node G. So how I will search? What I will do? I will start from A and I will keep the level equals to 0. Level equals to 0, I am searching only the A node because here the D like is similar to DLS. So beyond L there is no successor. So first we are restricting or we are searching only the node A. So after node A, the goal test function, it will decide whether you have reached the goal test or not. So we didn't reach the goal test here. So what we will do? Now we will increase the depth or the level by 1. Next, if we are increasing the level to 1, we are going to the next level and we are exploring the nodes B. Next node is B. Again, B is not the goal state. Then we are exploring C node. Again, C is not the goal node. So in this level 1 also, after restricting the limit equals to depth limit equals to 1, we are not reaching the level. We are not reaching the solution. So what we will do? Again, it will search the next level. So in this way, in the next level 2, we are getting the solution, that is the G. Okay. In this way, the iterative deepening depth first search algorithm will work. So considering this is the advantage of this iterative deepening depth first algorithm, it combines the benefit of the BFS and the DFS search algorithm in terms of the first search and the memory efficient. Depth wise also we are searching, breadth wise also we are searching. Disadvantages is that the main drawback of this search is that it repeats all the work of the previous stage. So whenever we are increasing or incrementing the depth by 1, it will repeat all the work of the previous stage. Now this is the how that for searching Z, how it will work for the first iteration, second, third and fourth iteration for that specific problem. First iteration it will search A, the second iteration it will search A, B, C. The third iteration it will search A, B, D, E, C, F, G. And in the fourth iteration will get A, B, D, H, I, E, C, F, KZ. So in the third iteration, we are getting the solution here. The iterative deepening depth first search algorithm. Coming to the, we'll discuss from the completeness and the optimal properties, and we'll go to the time complexity and the space complexity. So completeness property, it is complete if its branching factor is finite. Okay. And optimal, it is optimal. It will also provide the optimal result if the path first is a non-decreasing function of the depth of the node, like our DFS node. So the time complexity, it will be again order of e to the power d, where b is the branching factor and d is the depth, maximum depth, whatever are there in the tree. And the space complexity will be order of b, d. And coming to the next algorithm, that is the bidirectional search algorithm. In the bidirectional search algorithm, it runs two simultaneous searches. One from the initial state called as the forward search. So it will start from the initial state towards the goal state, and other from the goal node towards the initial state. That is called the backward search. So simultaneously, two algorithms are running on the given problem search tree to find out the goal node. It replaces one single search graph with two small subgraphs, in which one starts the search from an initial vertex and other starts from the goal vertex. And when the search will stop here, it will stop when these two graphs intersect each other. And the bidirectional search, it can use any search technique such as your BFS, DFS, and the DLS, any of the technique, breadth first search, depth first search, depth limited search, anything, any search techniques can be used here. Now, this is one of the example of this bidirectional search algorithm, where one is the root node or the start node, and 16 is the goal node, or this is the our search node. We have to find out the sequence of nodes from root node to the goal node. So how will you find out the solution here? So I told you the graph can be divided into two subgraphs, because two algorithms has to be run simultaneously on the given graph. So we'll start from the root node 1 and we'll apply any, let us apply the BFS algorithm. It will start in, it will expand the nodes in the breadth wise, and it will continue to search the tree. And another algorithm that is starting from the goal node and it is coming towards the start. So it is starting from the node 16 and it is coming towards the node. Suppose both the algorithms, it is at a particular time of instant, they are meeting at the intersection node, assume 9. Okay. So what is the solution here? I told you the search stops when two graphs intersect each other. So here there is the intersection node is 9. So what is the solution of the problem? Here from the first search algorithm, root node towards the goal node, we are getting the sequence of nodes 1, 4, 8, 9. And for the second algorithm, we are moving from the node 16 towards the start node or the root node, and we are meeting at the intersection node 9. So here we are exploring the path of the node 16, 12, 10, 9. So what is the solution here? So here we have to concatenate the two results here. That means the sequence of node explored in the first algorithm, starting from the root node towards the goal node, that is a 1, 4, 8, 9. Then the second algorithm sequence of nodes is 16, 12, 10, 9. So you reverse the sequence now. That will be your 9, 10, 12, 16. So 9 is the intersection node. Now the result will be 1, 4, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 16. So this is the bidirectional search algorithm. So any algorithm you can apply for the first subgraph and the second subgraph. And the intersection point will be your stopping criteria. And this coming to the advantage of this bidirectional search algorithm. This bidirectional search is first. This search requires less memory. So why it is first? Because it is two algorithms are simultaneously running, and this requires less memory. Disadvantage is the intersection point we are stopping. Disadvantage is the implementation of the bidirectional source is sometimes very difficult, and one should know the goal state in advance. And implementing two algorithms at the same time it also be difficult. So next, and the completeness, if you use the BFS in the forward algorithm as well as the backward algorithm, then it will provide the complete result, and it will provide the optimal result. Always it will provide the optimal result if we use the BFS here or the DFS, because optimal result it will provide. And the time complexity will be order of b to the power d. Again, d is a branching factor d, or if you are dividing b to the power d by 2 also you can take, that is the two parts you are dividing the graph. Space complexity will be order of b to the power d. So whatever up to this bidirectional source algorithms, whatever I have discussed, all coming under your on-inferred source techniques. Only the start node is there, goal node is there, and from the start node to the goal node, we are applying either the BFS, breadth-wise we are searching, depth-wise, or we are putting the restriction on the depth limit, or we are incrementing the limit of the depth one by one, or we are doing the bidirectional search algorithms. So this is all about your on-informed search strategies. Next, informed search strategy. Maybe these are the three algorithms under your informed search algorithm. So I am not going to discuss about these informed search strategies also, because in the next session maybe Dr. Sanjay is going to explain about this greedy search, alpha beta cloning search, the min max search algorithm, A star search algorithm. So I am skipping this part. Next, I want to spend some time on these local and optimization algorithms for search. So under this local and optimization algorithms for search, there are so many optimization algorithms. You can explore these algorithms and you can use in AI. Your local search technique means we are stopping at a local point. We are unable to find the optimum solution beyond that point. That's the local stuff. And if you want to eliminate or overcome this local optimization problem, then you have to use some global search techniques. So global search techniques here, your genetic algorithm, particle swarm optimization algorithm, and colony optimization algorithm, the teaching learning based optimization algorithm, differential evaluation algorithm, B colony optimization, and nowadays people are using hybrid optimization algorithms. One algorithm they are combining with other algorithm to find some optimum solution for a given problem, right? So this optimization algorithms, this is if you start from the let us take some 5-10 minutes break. I want to break means I want to ask some questions about the optimization. Then I will relate the optimization specific to this genetic algorithm and the particle swarm optimization or our teaching learning based optimization. I will link. And so, Dr. Sanjay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I didn't prepare any more slides on the optimization algorithm, because the next to next session I think that is for local and optimization algorithm,
Yes.
right?
Yes, ma'am. Now
So
will ask few questions.
okay,
You can
okay,
see the question in the chat window.
okay.
One question already posted.
Okay. So depending upon the uninformed search techniques, if they are having any doubt, they can ask on the chat box. Then I will discuss some of these only as a genetic algorithm or one algorithm, teaching learning based algorithm. Only the basic I will tell. Okay.
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 So I request the participant to please pose the question.
BFS search, how it ensures optimality. Okay. Now see, this is the given example for the VFS, right? I told you,
Ma'am,
suppose.
please present your slide. Now it is not in the present mode.
Okay.
Please click present now.
Okay. Now it is coming.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
No, okay. Now this is the breadfast search example I have considered how it ensures optimality. Okay. Now see, suppose I told you, suppose I want to search the node K from this given tree, and suppose in this tree there is only the single node goal. One solution is there, so whatever solution you will get, that is the optimal solution. You assume that in the level 3, your G node, now I am replacing with a K node, right? G node I am replacing with a K node. Now what will happen? In the level 2, I will get the solution. There is no need to go to the level 3 and the level 4. So the number of nodes that I told you, optimality here means that is the minimum number of node sequence. If you visit minimum number of nodes, you will get the result. So if the G node is replaced by the K node, there are two solutions for the given problem. One in this direction, another in this direction. So what will happen in the level 2, will get the K node. So that is the optimum solution than the K node in this direction, searching in this direction. Yes. Miss, any other questions? Is it clear who asked that questions? 1 minute. Okay. So an example of BFS completeness. Okay, next question is Avinav Tomar. So an example of BFS completeness. Okay, BFS completeness. Completeness means what? If solution exists, it will show the problem. It will show the solution. So this graph you can consider. This is the K is the solution here. K is the goal node. We are going to search the K node. So we can get the solution. Solution exists, we will get the solution. If solution doesn't exist, we cannot get the solution. K node, if level 4, up to the level 4 you will search, you will get the solution. Suppose you want to search suppose T node in the given graph, so you will not get the solution. That is incomplete. That means solution doesn't present, it is unable to provide the solution. If solution is present, it is able to provide the solution. So one specific example for this, any graph you can consider and the solution exists, it will provide that solution. I think, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am, it is clear now.
Okay. Next question, let us take the next question. Is bidirectional source efficient for directed graph? Yes. So can you apply bidirectional source for directed graph? Yes, that is a good question. Is bidirectional source efficient for directed graph? Yes, I want one answer from the participants. Is bidirectional source efficient for directed graph? Is any answer from the participant side? Yes. Yes, Manas Ranjan. Please proceed. Amar Ranjan Das.
I mean, bidirectional graph, how it can move from backward direction, in direct graph.
Bidirectional. You are talking
In
about
case of
directed or
bidirectional
on?
search,
Huh.
directed graph, ma'am. In directed graph, during bidirectional search algorithm, how it can move in reverse direction.
No, that's why that I'm asking you people only whether this is efficient for directed graph or not. Depending upon your experience, you answer me. I am expecting one answer from you, your side.
Ma'am,
Is bidirectional search efficient
I think the backward
for
movement is
directed graph?
not possible in directed graph. It moves in two directions. Further move,
That is. That further move is not possible. For that, you have to do some additional works. You have to change the directions.
Yeah.
You have to keep track of those directions. So it will not efficient for the directed graphs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because okay, thank you. Next, ma'am, what is the complexity of bidirectional search and how? Yes.
Madam, I have answered that question, so you can skip that question.
Yeah.
Already answered. It is order of b to the power d by 2. We are searching
Which question?
That question already I answered. That complexity of bidirectional search I already answered.
Answered. Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, but if that is this is in the intersection direction, I guess it can be. It can be. It's a directed graph. If you keep track of the back direction, so you have to reverse the direction and you can apply the backward algorithm. It is possible, but it takes lots of time and lots of effort to apply the bidirectional search algorithm in both directions. It is possible. I am not telling that it is not possible. It is possible to do, to apply. Okay. Yes, anything else? If goal is known, then it is possible to apply bidirectional search. Obviously, goal is required. Otherwise, how will you apply the backward search? You cannot apply the backward search from the search node to the start node. In bidirectional graph, okay, in bidirectional graph, you can apply bidirectional graph is there. That is easy for applying bidirectional graph. Next, when you are searching in level 1, you have to visit level 0 again. Yes, I am not getting your question. When you are, which search algorithm you are telling? Mona Lisa. When you are searching a level 1, you have to visit level 0
actually,
again.
Madam, in iterative depending search, the question is that whenever we are going for level 1, we are again visiting level 0. So the question is actually why you are visiting the previous ones. That's why I have answered. So level 1, whenever we are going for level 1, we are again visiting level 0. That is the repetition we are doing.
Repetition, no? Level 1 you have to expand means you have to go to the level 0. Repetition is there.
Yes.
Okay. Uniform cost search, madam, please explain it again. Uniform cost search, I told you that Dr. Sanjay will explain the uniform cost search because that is for a directed graph, I think, uniform cost search technique. And so that path cost is required. So better that should be discussed under the informed search techniques. So some heuristic value it will come. So in the next session, Dr. Sanjay, he can explain this uniform cost search. Okay. How to choose limiting factor? What criteria? So limiting factor that is for depth limit search you are telling about. Sahu. How to choose the limiting factor? What criteria? You are talking about the depth first search, depth limit search, depth limit search.
Yes, ma'am.
How to choose the limit factor? There is no there is no specific rule how to choose the limit factor because if you know the maximum depth deeper, we don't know where the solution is there. Okay, so maybe in between. So one problem I have solved, some real life problem I have solved by using this depth limit search. And I have performed different types of experiments. And I am not telling that is what this is the exact answer for this one. At the mid level, depth equals to d na, maybe at the d by 2 you can take the upper ceiling or the lower ceiling. It provides the best result, but you have to see depending upon the given problem how to choose the limiting factor. There is no hard and fast rule. In this way you have to define the limiting factor.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Next, anything else?
Ma'am, if we have to check the change the limit again and again, and then it will take much more time than DFS. Then how it is optimal, ma'am?
No, optimal means listen, optimal means I am talking about the optimal solution for that given problem. I am not comparing that one with the BFS. Getting?
Right, I'm comparing depth limit search with depth first search. If that we have to change the limit again and again, then by experience we have to change the limit. Then
again, that depends. That depends upon where your solution is. If your solution is within your limiting factor, then your time will be less. Otherwise, your time will be more.
Yes, ma'am. But we have to change the limit, then it will take much more time. Again, first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, like that.
But there is a chance that if your solution is present in the lowest level, that means the level 0, 1, 2, your time will be less. If your solution is present at the deepest level, then it will be same as your DFS.
But it's average case is good or not? Maybe its worst case is very bad and the best case is very good. But what is its average case?
Average case for the depth limit search.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Depth limit search. 1 minute. We're talking about the depth limited search.
Yes, madam.
I see. This is a depth limited search, right? Now, so can you tell me, okay, whoever has asked that question, can you tell me one node you want to search in the given graph or the tree that will provide the average case? The solution will be your average time. It will take your average time. Can you tell me one example, one node here?
Suppose, madam, suppose I am searching, suppose the root node, then it's my best case. And if my goal node is at the bottom or at the leaf node or the deepest level, okay, then it's my worst case.
Okay.
So then there are many in between levels may be there where our search maybe, suppose the worst case is suppose time 100 unit and the best case is suppose time 1 unit, suppose for example. But other solutions ranges between 2 to 99. So our average case, what is the average case? I want to know whether the average case is better than other search algorithm or not, because everywhere there is a best case, there is a worst case, there is an average case. But and most of the cases we will come across the average cases, because sometimes it may be 90 minutes, maybe 95 minutes, sometimes maybe 60, sometimes maybe 10, 20, etc. But if the average case is suppose 40, then we can say it's a good. So then I want to know.
Suppose you want to search the node C here, A, B, C here, okay? So C comes under your best case or worst case or average case. See the graph and tell me, C comes under your best case, worst case or average case?
So in this case, I think it is middle one. It may not be very bad or it may not be very good.
That means you are telling the average.
Not that one. Hello.
Hello.
Actually, madam, I cannot express. Suppose, madam, best case it is very good. Worst case is very bad. Suppose we are taking 10 samples, or say maybe suppose we are taking 100 samples. Sometimes it is taking suppose 10 milliseconds, sometimes it is taking 2 milliseconds, sometimes it is taking 20 milliseconds, sometimes suppose it is taking 6 milliseconds, and so on. So what is the average? On an average in a real time.
For the depth limited
Or
search
in
you are talking about?
yes, limited, where from the beginning we need to search again, where each and every time we need to search it from the beginning.
From the beginning, yeah. So now that's why I'm asking you, if you want to analyze the time complexity with respect to B and D. D is the depth limit and B is your branching factor. Now you see C is the node you want to search. Okay. Now you calculate with respect to B and D how much time it is taking. That I am asking you. For C node, how much time it will take? Because C comes under your average case, right?
Oh, okay.
So how will you express this C with respect to B and D? Can anybody can answer? Yes. B and with respect to B and D. Yes. Anybody? Who's taking any answer? Yes. Dr. Sanjay?
Madam.
Yeah. Can you add something to this question? Now I am asking him if C is the average
Is
case.
not clear. Satyavan sir, please repeat the question.
Sir, in case of the depth first, sorry,
Depth limit search.
depth limit search. What is the average case? So in this case, suppose at the best chance, suppose it is at the root or very nearest to root. So our hypothetical
if root is your goal node, the complexity is order of 1.
Order of 1.
Order of 1. That is a constant time. And we are considering order of B to the power L by considering L is the limit. Okay.
B to the power L is the limit.
In the DFS search, we have order of B to the power D. Okay, their depth is D, but here depth is L. So the complexity is order of B to the power L. And we are analyzing the worst case complexity, not the average case complexity.
The worst case, we are analyzing the worst case.
So average case is in between order of 1 and order of B to the D. But
considering worst case means definitely. Okay, definitely average will be better than the worst.
So obviously, yes, average will be average will be in between best and worst.
Yes.
Best and worst. Okay, thank you. Your nice question.
Sir, I have another question in iterative deepening depth first search.
Yeah.
In this case, what happens? Each and every time we are increasing our depth.
Yeah. Limit.
Our goal is not reached. And in the each and every time we are searching from the root again and again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So definitely here the cost will be more in terms of searching time.
Yes.
No, that will be more, but it may be less than the DFS. That is a specific case of your DFS only. Okay. DFS whatever, we are searching towards the deepest node. Yes. Okay.
So my doubt is, so it is very clear that since it is in a iterative from each and every time we are searching from the beginning, like if it is C, ABC, if it is G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like this.
Yeah.
But is there any other such algorithm developed in which in the next level or next time we need to search from that position up to what it has been searched in the previous stage?
No. That means that repetition you don't want, right?
Yes. That means up to what it has been searched, from that it can start.
Actually, you consider this problem. For example, you are giving limit is equal to 0. That is a different problem. If limit is 1, that is a different problem. Limit is 2, that is a different problem. That's why you are exploring the root again and again in each and every unit.
Yeah, that means the tree is divided. Your sort space is increasing. Your sort space is changing because you have to search. The sort algorithm, it will work on the sort space of the tree. Every time your tree structure is changing. Right. So every time you have to do the repetition. The sort space is changing, tree is changing. So you have to repeat. Again, you have to repeat those things. Because the algorithm has to repeat those things.
Okay, I will introduce another search that is SMS star, that is simple memory bound search, in which the limit is fixed.
Limit is fixed.
Limit is fixed. Means I can say if you consider this particular tree, whatever madam is presenting, you can keep only 3 nodes. For example, I am searching from A, so that
Yeah.
is first node. Left child is B and right child is C. You can keep only 3 nodes. So in
Okay.
order to go D, you have to delete C.
Yeah.
Or in order to go E, you have to delete again D. So at the max, at any step, you can keep only three memory.
Okay.
You can keep 3 nodes. So that
Memory
is a
efficient.
part of informed sort strategy. So that
That-
we can consider as a one of the improvement over this the demerits of this particular.
The
strategy.
demerits of this. Actually, this uninformed source techniques in the real life, if you want to solve the problem, it won't help you. Whatever based upon my experience, always some heuristic values are required, right? We are doing the optimum solution. We are trying to find the optimum solution. So we have to apply the informed source techniques or some optimization technique to find better solution. Those things. So always in the real life, you will not get your optimization that the objective function is linear. It won't be linear always. So the real life problem, your objective function is always non-linear. So in that case, some heuristic value you have to see, you have to consider, and you have to apply any optimization techniques or any informed source techniques to find out the solution. Okay.